Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the L Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Yeah. Here it is, Thursday night, Fanatical Elfz. We are the bunch of wild and crazy Browns fans, part of Fans First Sports Network, and we are so happy that you are watching us live on YouTube, on the X, on a variety of places. And I'm just reading some note from Fans First on Facebook saying that they're having a hard time broadcasting for some strange odd.
I'm reading it too.
You want me to put this on my page?
No, you can if you want to add it. So welcome, guys. We got Lou, we got Sam, we got me, we got Steve, and we got Jarrell all here, and it's been a full, fun, festive Browns week. Couldn't ask for anything more. We are talking about the Browns game that they had against Dallas. That wasn't much of a game. Many of us have talked about it. We've talked about Deshaun Watson, and we're going to talk a lot about Deshaun tonight. So, good evening, everybody. Who'd like to start and say hello? Jarrell.
Hi. Jarrell. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Hey, you know what's going on tonight?
What's going on?
We're on Bills and Dolphins Thursday night football.
Did everybody get in their picks for Fantasy League? I got in under the wire.
Just like we could actually talk some football too. So that's
got a chance.
Is it in Buffalo or is it at Miami?
It's in Miami. It's in Miami. And
right. And did Tyreek Hill take an Uber to the game?
Yeah. It's been an interesting week. So we're talking off air.
Giant tank.
The big news this week, obviously, is everything surrounding. If you're watching this live, is just Deshaun Watson. The team did not play well. Watson did not play well. There were bad play calls. There were, all sorts of things, mistakes. We've got injuries now. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. But let's talk about Deshaun. Everyone's talking about Deshaun, and especially now there's some new allegations. So I think we're going to get into that right now. Lou, you kind of chimed in a little bit. You want to go into that?
Yeah, I asked a question, and I haven't heard this question asked. This is just based on what I see and what I know is that, okay, this happened 4 years ago in October of 2020. Okay. And I saw the complaint. I read it online, and it sounded it sounded horrible. What she's claiming happened. I'm not saying she's lying. I'm not saying she's telling the truth. I'm not saying either. Mm-hmm. My question is, why didn't she go to the police when this happened or a short time afterwards? It's 4 years later. She's suing him with this attorney that represented these other women. Mm-hmm. Why didn't she go to the police?
This is a civil suit.
It's a civil suit. It's not criminal. He's not criminally charged with anything. Mm-hmm. Did she go to the police? What happened? Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's just, did she go to the police? I mean, did anybody ask this question? So it's just me being naturally curious about this. And that's what it is. And also, just to be clear, I watched and listened to Deshaun Watson's press conference.
Sure.
Was that Wednesday? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yesterday. And he didn't say if he knew or not. He just said he didn't know about it until he heard about it. Mm-hmm. And he called his attorney and he said, "What's going on?" Mm-hmm. Like now the attorneys might have been aware of it and they didn't tell him. Mm-hmm. That's possible. And that's just really what it is. It's like, well, what's going on here? Because that just sounds. To me, it's like, why did she go to the police? What did the police do? What happened? So I don't know. I don't know if she did or not. So that's just what I'm just saying. Where's the legal part of this? Where's the criminal element of this?
Well, it's a civil suit again, so there doesn't have to be a criminal part, right?
But what I read is that's a crime. What happened to her was a crime. Mm-hmm. What she's claiming. Jarrell's nodding. Yeah. So go ahead, man. Guys, jump in. I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question.
Jarrell.
I mean, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because it is just an allegation, and we talked off air. We talked about Trevor Bauer. We talked about Matt Ariza. We brought up the Michael Irvin thing. Yeah. And so You know, there's just as much evidence that anybody on the Houston Texans that played for them at that time might have did this. So we really don't know. You know, we really. So it's up to them to show what they have, and you know, I'm of the mindset if you really had something like Lou said, you would have went to the police, because then you could have got them criminally convicted, and you could have done this. So you could have done both anyway. There's no law that says you can't prosecute somebody and then go after them civilly too. So.
There's been a lot of cases, Steve. I don't know if you want to elaborate, or Sam, but there've been a lot of these cases that were. Now this is a different case, and I guess that's the next thing I want to ask the group or talk about, as far as what did the team know, what did the team not know, and how. Like some other analysts and other Browns reporters are talking about how this might affect, you know, what the Browns do with that contract, because there is some language. My understanding that they Steve.
Now the verbiage in the current restructure that they just did is not out there. What these guys are looking at is last year's restructure. Even Jack Duffin admits he hasn't seen the verbiage on this certain restructure.
We've messaged each other. He told me that. Yep.
So yeah, he messaged me. I asked him too, and he said I hadn't seen it. Anything you see online is last year's restructure. Of course, these national pundits aren't interested in that. These are the same guys that said when he got his salary reduced to $1 million and all the big signing bonus, they did that because they knew he was going to get suspended, but that's the way NFL contracts work. But it's too lazy to actually go and investigate, Google something that would take you like 3 minutes. But but the way I understand it, they thought they had a financial agreement with this latest accuser.
Okay.
The lawyer thought he had an agreement. You know, she was going to settle.
Okay.
I just find it interesting that after Deshaun Watson has his worst game as a NFL quarterback, that Tony Busby, known ambulance chaser, lays this thing out to the public on the Monday afternoon after the game. I wonder if Deshaun Watson would have balled out on Sunday if we would have ever heard about this. I'm serious.
No,
I'm very, very serious.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting.
As for what he told Mike Florio, that he has pertinent video, which is legal for non-damning, and two witnesses. If he, like Lou said, if he had damning video and two witnesses, it would have gone immediately to the police. I have a feeling they have video of Deshaun pulling into her apartment complex because he went to her apartment.
Sure.
And the two witnesses witnessed him asking for her phone number at the mall prior to this, when she invited him to her house for dinner.
Sure.
So the NFL is going to look into it.
Well, I guess that's the other part of this is that the NFL, I know, but the NFL is investigating. So,
well, they got to say that. Save face.
Okay, so they do, but let's play it out. Like, let's say the NFL gets more involved in this, and then something comes down the line. We don't know the language of the new contract or whatever is within there. So we're speculating a lot, and everyone's doing that this week. It's just been a really interesting week, and everyone is talking about it. Quite honestly, because half of the Browns fans, and I mentioned this last night on my show, that, you know, not half, but there had been a certain percentage of fans who have left the team, and that's their own business. They don't want to follow the team when they signed Deshaun Watson. Now you have another round of fans, I believe, who have been supporting Deshaun along the way since, you know, that time, but now there are continuing to be things that pop up. And I'm not saying there's anything to this claim, this latest one, but it's just not spinning off real well. And I just don't see how this can continue the way that it is. So that's what I want to talk about. I mean, can you all see that? See, I think this is, I know I mentioned, Steve, your comment on your show, the Dog Pound South, the other day, and you had talked about we're going to have this guy through 2026. And I just don't see how. I know financially what you're talking about, but I don't see how that works with everything that we're talking about today. Anyway,
it's called dead cat money. They're not going to do that. I mean, Denver did it, and they're going to suck for about 3 or 4 years.
Denver can do it. Why can't we do it? I mean,
then you're not going to re-sign Nick Chubb.
Okay, then we don't.
You're going to have to cut a few key players.
Yeah.
So,
really
do you want to let Nick Chubb go to?
Well, I love Nick Chubb, but I'm just, if other teams can do it, and I know it's not in the financial sense of what we need to be doing here in Cleveland and continuing what Andrew Berry and everybody's been working at, but I'm just, I mean, I'm just listening to people, and you guys listen. You're Browns fans. Lou, you're around everybody too. Sam, fans who watch Cleveland and listen to, everyone is talking about this, and everyone is stressed. Well, maybe you're not stressed, but I'm stressed because we don't know what we're going to see on the field. First off, we're hoping that he shows up and decides to play a really good game, and hopefully he'll do that on Sunday. But beyond that, then you have all this other stuff. So that's I'm getting that.
This is the last thing I'm going to say about this. I find it funny that the Ravens really kicked off. It was Ben Roethlisberger to a certain degree, but it was the Ravens who kicked off this black eye on the NFL.
Yeah,
Ray Rice put the one hitter quitter down, right? And the NFL, being the hypocrites they are, was only going to give them 2 games. That's the Ravens. The Ravens don't get covered the way that the Browns do. They don't get covered like they employ wife beaters, because the Ravens heard about it. They were cool with 2 games. So to me, it's just Cleveland gets such a negative. It's just easy to beat up on, and then I think to a certain degree, you have certain people in the Cleveland media that pile on to that narrative. So it just sucks because
it sucks, Jarrell. It really does.
I'm not going to fault the Browns for trying to make a move to try to win games. And we're going to get a little bit more into that later, because I got some stats I want to share with y'all.
Yeah.
Ooh. Sam, how are you feeling up there? We haven't heard from you yet.
I don't really have a whole lot of an opinion. If you scroll through the text chat, I don't think I really commented on my opinion of Watson. I just kind of, I just don't really have the care, I guess, for all this. This is his choice. If this did happen, he made that choice. He made that mistake. He should face the consequences for it, in my opinion. I think if you do a good thing, you should get good consequences. If you do a bad thing, you should have bad consequences. I think this is just kind of his fault, and if this did happen, and his problem, and I think it affects us because we're fans and we like the team, and we might like Watson. I don't really know if anyone likes Watson much anymore, but I think it just should be between him and the person, if he did do this, who he did it to. I think it really should just
I commend
between those two.
Sam, and I commend, and like Lou, you said you watched the press conference, and I'm sure some of you others did too. I mean, I commend him, and I said last night on my show that he's out there. He was answering the questions. I give him credit for doing that. That takes some. I was a little bit surprised that they had him go out there, but he did. So
that would have been a bad PR move if he didn't go out and talk. I think so. I think there's just get him out, because let him go out.
Well, they haven't always made him talk too in the past, so that I thought that was a step.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. Leading into what happened Sunday, because it was that first half was probably the worst offensive football I've seen from the Browns. We were both, John and I were at the game. Steve, were you at the game?
No, I was watching in my living room.
You're watching, okay. It was because the first half. I mean, Jarrell was talking about the stats. They only had 47 yards of offense, 1 first down. It was horrible, and it was just and it just seemed like they couldn't get in sync. They couldn't get a rhythm. Anytime there'd be a penalty, put them behind the sticks. You'd have a drop ball. You just one thing after another. And Myles Garrett should have had 2 sacks. We should have had 4 sacks, but he lined up off sides on one of his sacks. So the defense actually played a pretty good game. The defense didn't.
Yeah, they did. And I saw him. I saw him line up outside. I pointed it out to my wife. Oh my God, Miles is outside again.
Why does he do that? I mean, how does he not recognize?
I don't know.
I don't know. We just kind of, and it was just, it sucked. I mean, it was bad. And I said, well, let's see what they do in the second half. And the second half, they made it look respectable, with getting
until that
off.
punt return to make it 27-3, and then it was game over.
It was game over.
Everybody failed in this thing. I agree with Lou. The defense played a lot better than people are saying.
Sure. I did go back and watch, and I agree a little bit more.
This is going to be in my preview article that I finished, probably come out Saturday. Yeah. The top 3 corners for the Browns, none of them allowed to pass a rating over 90. Everybody was under 9, so that's, the secondary was there. They did pressure Dak. They got 3 sacks.
Should have had 4.
You should have had 4, but it's
2 picks.
Denzel Ward he missed there were at least 2 good shots. He should have had at least one of those.
But the thing that just gets me, looking at the offense, it just looked like they lacked confidence in it. I just did not see. I mean, the early drops killed him. I mean, he had Njoku wide open.
And it's like he dropped it. He dropped it. He hit him right in the hands. I mean, he just dropped it.
They ended up on 3rd and 7+ yards 48% of the time. And I have a saying, you can't go against a good defense and live on 3rd down. You just can't.
They were 5th in the NFL in 2023. Time. Dallas had the number 5 defense in 2020. They were top 5 defense. They're not
back in 2020. Throwing it back here, but the defense was solid with turnovers. Steve, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. We need to get back.
Go ahead.
We need to create turnovers. But Steve, I'll let you finish.
They didn't last year, so
right. They didn't start doing it. Right, this year. That's what
Can I chime in about the first half of the offense?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch the all 22 that I did, kind of looking at things. Mm-hmm. What I saw was that the play calls, Dallas was sitting on the sticks the whole first half because they weren't taking shots 15, 20 yards down the field. So, there's a lot of hitches, a lot of slants, a lot of drags. So even when it was 3rd and 7, they weren't dialing up concepts to scheme people open. It was these drop backs and, let's hit the out. Because you saw later in the game the Elijah Moore interception. How many times have you seen interceptions on that same play where it's an empty formation and they're trying to throw? Sorry, not my lamp over. They're trying to throw an out route.
Don't break it.
Tipped and it gets intercepted. How many times have you seen that? Because I saw it in the Steelers game in 23, week 2. Yeah. I saw it in the Ravens game, and I saw it on Sunday. They need to rip that out and throw that out because that play don't work. They know you want to throw that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into Kevin Stefanski's play calling because again, I got some stats for you.
Well, I know you did. Now Deshaun was 0 for 10 when he tried to throw the ball at 15 yards or longer. Did you see that stat?
Yeah, I heard that.
I did see that stat. I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Did he have time? That's the question.
Well, I think he did, and that's what I mean. I've seen enough videos where he had most and again, I don't know what stat this came from, but I heard it that he had of the quarterbacks, he was in the top 10 quarterbacks on the weekend that had the most time in the pocket. And yet, look, he just needs to, and Stefanski today talked about Deshaun, doing his homework and seeing what he made mistakes on, and that he'll be better in the next game. So, I don't know when he said that at some point today, and
score alert. Buffalo just scored a touchdown.
See, I went with Miami. I should not have gone with Miami at home.
Well, it's early. Yeah,
I know.
Josh Allen touchdown pass to James Cook.
Yeah, we could have had Josh Allen as quarterback here in Cleveland.
Well, we could have had oh Jesus. Yeah, and the thing, I'm going to say this too. The same people that want Baker Mayfield back, and I know you do, John.
No, I want him back. Not now. I want him back like the year before he retires.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this is a consolation prize.
They're the same ones posting the still pictures of him missing wide open receivers. It's like Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad's going to post up more videos and stuff. These same people want him back. So I was at that Detroit. Yeah. So don't.
Okay.
We're past that.
Let's get into. Let's take a quick break right now, and then when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the game, about the play calling. Jarrell wanted to talk a little bit more about that. and then we'll be right back. We are the Fanatical Elfz. This is the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of Fans First Sports Network. We'll see you on the other side. And we're on the other side. We're back.
We died.
Yes.
Tua threw an interception already. Just so you know.
Did he? See, damn it. Okay. Sam, you are always the wise. I always appreciate your wise words of a young person. That this kid is amazing. Like his interpretation of things and how he looks at it. Very, very impressed. Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They are sponsoring us. Now, listen, we need you to go buy this coffee, because if you do, then if you use the link on our X page, then us Fanatical Elfz, we get 15% of that back. Now, I looked earlier today, guys, and we've had several hits on the website. So there have been several people that have gone to our Hemisphere Coffee Roasters and checked out this amazing coffee. But we haven't had many buy the coffee. So you got to go buy the coffee because it's amazing.
Buy the coffee. Come on.
You get, if you buy my wife and I do this, we buy 3 packs and you get 15% off, I believe. Your shipping order, we get it every 3 or 4 weeks.
You get free shipping on 3 1-pound bags or 1 5-pound bag.
Yes. So please go to Hemisphere
how
Coffee
I buy
Roasters.
my coffee.
On that link, click it, buy some stuff, buy some coffee. It's amazing stuff. They shake the hand of the farmer, and it's good coffee. My wife and I have been ordering this coffee for 5 or 6 years. It's the best thing. You'll never go back. Never go back. It's amazing stuff. Like if I don't have it, if I'm gone, I'm on vacation, I feel like I'm missing something. So thank you. Jarrell, you've done a lot of analysis. Sam.
Oh.
I interrupted you.
No. We're going to continue talking about the Dallas game, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I didn't want to.
I want to hear from you. Yes.
Subject. Was it the second Browns play or the third Browns play, or maybe it wasn't either, where Amari Cooper was clearly pass interference, but it didn't get called.
Yeah.
It was a third down. It was a third down. Yeah, it was a third down.
At that moment, I knew that I don't think something's going to go wrong. We're not going to have a good game there.
Really?
Yeah.
It was
the second that happened, I'm like, that's not.
Everybody in the stands was like what happened?
That was totally a pass interference for sure. I'm like watching it, and I'm like, he's literally basically giving him a bear hug from behind and clamping his arms down. Like, how is that not?
There was another holding. I know we all do it, but like there was a holding call too at some point that I went back and I watched the films. One of the Cowboys had one of our guys clearly holding him, one of our wide receivers. Nothing called.
Yeah, it was Cooper.
Cooper again. Yeah,
Amari Cooper too.
Just like.
Oh yeah, there was some bad missed calls.
This analysis that you want to talk, Jarrell, you want to lead us off or go into a little bit, because I know you and I have differed. I have a little opinions on some of this stuff this week.
Yeah. So Stefanski, I don't think Stefanski is a bad coach. I think he's a bad play caller. And so we was in the group chat, and I asked somebody, because we were talking about Baker Mayfield. I say, tell me Baker Mayfield's career game in Cleveland, because he's never thrown for over 400 yards in his career anyway. But I said, give me the standout game. Somebody, I think it was Noah, said it was the Steelers playoff game, right? Where they beat them down. All right.
Yeah.
Can anybody tell me what the Steelers defense was ranked that year?
Top 5.
Anybody tell me that?
Probably top 5.
They were number 3 in team defense. They were 3rd in passing defense, 11th in rushing defense.
Okay.
Who called the plays? Who called the plays in that game?
Van Pelt.
Van Pelt called the plays, right? Because Stefanski was home with COVID. Okay.
Was it Van Pelt?
Next round.
Yep.
Next round. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Luke.
No. I was just saying the coach was the special teams coordinator, Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Pfeiffer. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. That's all I was going to say. Go ahead, Charles. Sorry.
The next round, they played the Chiefs. Can anybody tell me what the Chiefs were in defense that year? Anybody know? Top 10, outside the top 10?
I'd say top 15.
Top 15. They were 11th.
Okay.
They were 14th in passing defense, 21st in rushing defense.
Okay.
They lost that game. They only scored 17 points when they just put a 40-piece, almost a 50-piece on the 3rd-ranked defense in the league. Sure. Tell me why with a healthy Nick Chubb, they couldn't score more than 17 points. I'll tell you why. Kevin Stefanski is horrible at situational play calling. Now, and I'm gonna get to the Dallas game. I got one other point. All of the people that talk about, well, Flacco looked better in the offense than Deshaun Watson. I got some Flacco stats.
Okay.
Please.
Rams, the Rams game was his first start, I believe. Do you know what the
Right.
Rams were in team defense? They were 19th. You know what they were against the pass? They were 20th against the pass. So not really a good passing defense.
Middle of the road.
They
Sure.
played, They played Jacksonville. They were 17th in team defense. Do you know what Jacksonville was against the pass last year? 26th.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, Deshaun Watson looked good against Tennessee. He looked good against Arizona. He looked good against teams that didn't have good passing defenses. And the Titans were actually 18th against the pass, but I digress. Then they played Chicago, who was 20th in team defense. They were 25th against the pass, and they almost lost that game. Okay.
Almost two
picks. Houston. Yeah. Almost 2 picks. Then they played Houston, who was 11th in team defense, but they were 23rd against the pass. Now, we know that's the game that Amari Cooper put up all the big numbers, all the big stats and all of that. And we'll come back to that because that was a playoff loss. And then they played the Jets, who were 12th in team defense, second against the pass, but who was their quarterback? Zach Wilson. So you got a dominant defense. You don't have to worry about
I think it was Trevor Siemian in that
game.
I think it was Trevor
Siemian.
Siemian.
It might have been Siemian.
It was. Yeah.
I think it was.
So now, but what I'm getting at, I'm not trying to take away what Joe Flacco did, because Joe Flacco came in and did his thing, and we give him respect for that.
Absolutely.
We got to look at what he did against the teams that he played, because when he played that same Houston defense that was 23rd in the past, and I don't blame him for throwing those 2 pick sixes.
But
I blame Stefanski.
Okay, but Stefanski's coaching Flacco last year, so you're not giving Stefanski credit for the fact that we won those games with Stefanski as the head coach. You still think that the play calling? What, Steve? You're raising your hand. What's the deal?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, the last 3 regular season wins were against teams that didn't make the playoffs. Okay, that's what Jarrell's point is.
Sure.
I mean, sure, Flacco looks.
No, wait
great.
a second. Here, time out. Here's what I'm getting at. I'm getting at this. Is Jarrell,
and he almost lost to Chicago.
Now, wait a second. No, wait, Jarrell, and I'm not going to disagree with you. Okay, I might disagree with you here, but what I'm getting at, Steve, what I'm trying to get from you, Steve, is I've always thought, Steve, you've been a proponent, and Lou, you can chime in, or Sam. I always thought that you were a proponent of Stefanski. You've always given Stefanski more credit than anybody.
I have been, but my point, and I wrote about this and I said it in my podcast, if you are going to do a new offense, you've got to let the guy who runs that offense call the plays. And this isn't Stefanski's offense. This is Ken Dorsey's offense.
Why is he happy about that? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I'm not happy about that. That's one reason why they lost. I mean, let Ken Dorsey call Ken Dorsey's offense.
Jarrell, it's a good observation too on the defenses. I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about.
And I think too. I just think overall, it wasn't.
You only hear it first here on the Fanatical Elfz.
It wasn't just Watson or just the play calling. It was everything with everything. It was part of it. It was everything. So they have to do better. And the thing was, the one thing when I talked Monday when I was on the show with John on Monday was the thing that I was listening to in the press conference is nobody made excuses. It didn't sound like excuses to me. They said we just didn't play well. We got to do better. This is it. I mean, and that's fine. That's fine. So I want to see, okay, how are they going to respond? How are they going to play? Because you know what, we've got 16 more games, and it's only week 2, and there's all this crazy side stuff happening.
Right.
Like it's only week 2 because the Jeff Hartman, the guy with the fans first, I was just like, it's only week 2. I don't know if I could deal with this all season.
Well, I think that's what I'm getting. What I was talking about earlier today, that in the show, I just think that it's exhausting a lot of us. I mean, I'm tired of talking about it, but it's hard to escape talking about it because that's what we're in right now. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, like all of you are. That's the majority of the season is right there, and anything can happen in the NFL. And Lou and I, you and I decided on Monday, if they go out there to Jacksonville and they lose, it's still not the end of the world. And I'd like to think that our Browns still have a good shot at making the playoffs, but it depends on how they lose. You know, again, I want to see a better just everything, like from Jarrell saying better play calling. Maybe we can hand the ball off to, we're not, see, that's the thing. Like you, Steve and Jarrell, you guys were like, I just don't know. How do you get them? Stefanski's never going to give up the play calling. And that's an issue, right?
That is an issue. Because, I think his play calling, his situational play calling, I'll give you a perfect example because I was screaming at the TV when they finally scored the touchdown, right? They're down 24 because it's 27-3.
At that point, I'm on the RTA. I'm headed back to dinner.
You score the touchdown. Why don't you go for 2 right there and cut it to 16? That's the situational stuff that I'm talking about. That doesn't make any sense because your defense held them to a 3 and out, and you got the ball back.
Maybe Stefanski had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that was weird.
Maybe
that was
he
weird.
was so focused he needed to go.
Kind of
pee.
confused.
And
wait, 17 points. That's 3 scores.
Even my wife was going, why aren't they going for 2? I mean,
That's so to me that if you're again, he's the head coach and he's a 2-time coach of the year. Somebody has to explain. Somebody smarter than me, please tell me. Why wouldn't a coach of the year know analytics, situational football? You wouldn't do that in the Super Bowl because New England had to do something similar to that.
Yeah.
Go for 2.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Well, and Steve, I'll let you. Again, you
score update.
Yeah.
Miami just scored a touchdown.
Yes.
Who scored it?
Hang on.
Play calling.
It was a pass. It was a touchdown pass. It looked like it was.
So Stefanski wins in 2020. The next 2 years, Baker Mayfield, all this stuff happening. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Baker, all this stuff. They have sub 500 records. Jarrell, Steve can tell you. I've complained about Stefanski on and off this podcasting platform, right, Steve? I've never been 100% behind Stefanski because I'm the one, Jarrell, usually saying, what the hell is going on? Why is he doing this situational football? So now I've been trying to, my damnedest, to give him credit, but you're pointing to a lot of great examples of why are we giving this guy credit? I think we're just still coming off of a season where we just saw Flacco mania. We're all a little bit happy about that. We came off of that, but now we're settling back in. And believe me, Jarrell, this fan base is going to start talking just like you are about a lot of these things in Stefanski again. And he's in year 5. And while I think he does a lot of good things, and I think he'll last longer than Deshaun, in my opinion, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Can I add something really quickly? I don't want to take away from this, but we're on the topic of coaching. If you're Mike McCarthy, are you letting Brandon Aubrey kick the 71-yard field goal or no?
Yes,
I would have.
The Browns can't move the ball. Yeah, kick it.
I mean, there's been crazier things that's happened.
Why did they let him?
Awesome to let him.
He kicked the other one
and made it too. He kicked a 60. I think it was 66, right?
Yeah, it would have been a record. That would have been a record.
I would have totally just been like, I know why they didn't, and you never know what could happen. They could get a foul, and the Browns get the ball, and they score a touchdown. Yeah. But it would have been insane watching him kick a 71, even if he was short by 6 yards. I would have let him do it. But it's a little off topic, but we were on the topic of coaching. I just wanted to ask.
Steve, you were going to say something, and then Lou.
I think Kevin Stefanski is good at calling his offense. If we were in his offense, we'd have 3 tight ends on the roster. If we were in his offense, you'd see a lot more zone blocking by the offensive line. He just needs to let Ken Dorsey call Ken Dorsey's offense. Come on, give it up, Kev. Be a head coach.
Can I push back on that? Because I gotta disagree with Steve on that from my observation, because
disagree with what?
I think that he's good at calling his offense, because I don't know if that was Alex Van Pelt calling his offense or if that was Stefanski. But if we just go back to that 2020 run, what I would have ideally liked to have seen is Kevin Stefanski say, "Oh wow, we did that. AVP, you're cooking. Let's let you do. For the rest of this playoff run. Let's let you do. I can always take it back from you. Let me see what you do." And he dials up 17 points, especially with Mahomes being out the game. You can't score more than 17 against a backup quarterback. So to me, that was your and I'm not the biggest Baker Mayfield fan, but even in the Packers game, when Nick Chubb got you to the 50 and you had 2 timeouts, this was week 16, I believe. They was only down 1 and they only needed a field goal.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski dialed up 3 straight pass plays, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't put Baker. That was Nick Chubb was running all over the field. So that to me is situational.
You're bringing me back to not like Stefanski's play calling, man. Jarrell, stop it, man. I was trying to.
Okay, let's bring up a couple of things. Let's talk about that Chiefs playoff game. That there was obviously a helmet-to-helmet hit that should have been called, and it turned out to be a turnover that cost us points. There was also very blatantly defensive holding on an interception that Mayfield threw. Mayfield threw 4 interceptions in that game.
Yeah.
So there was a lot. There's a lot of other factors involved. So yes, you could criticize Stefanski's play calling. Fine, that's fine. Yeah. But there's other things too.
I think Jarrell, you mentioned too in your other podcast when you were talking about that game, and like Lou, you probably remember this. They'll play the defensive. The Browns couldn't get that last defensive stop, and maybe get the ball back, but there was no guarantee. Even when they got the ball back, they still had to score, right? Weren't they down?
Which game was this?
And the Chiefs game. The Chiefs game, where the Chiefs put the game away. They had a critical third down.
Yeah, they had that. Chad Henne did that run. It was like well, there was a third long, and Chad Henne made the run and got him close, and they just did a quick pass and got it.
Oh, that's what happened. That's right.
Yeah.
But the Browns at that time, were they down by 3 or were they down by?
They're down 5. It was 22-17.
Okay. I mean, the Chiefs only scored 22 in that game. I know you say that we only scored 17, but again, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, God, it's so long ago.
Well, how many times have you seen Kevin Stefanski in a game that matters? Because the only game that I can think of in recent memory for me is the Ravens game. A game that matters, a game where you're down, game you got to overcome adversity, and you pull it out against a quality opponent. Can anybody recall any other game? Because I can't recall another one where a Kevin Stefanski team with him calling the plays, they win. Can anybody? We can do it. If you got one, just say it at the end of the show. But I can't recall one.
I mean, just running at 2020 when they beat the Steelers to clinch the playoffs at the stadium.
Sure.
Okay.
That's one. Yeah. That's just the first one that came to my mind. That was that we had. That. Yeah. So
let me just finish up a couple items before we get going. Look at this game on Sunday against Jacksonville. The Browns do have several folks that are injured on defense. I even heard today that Myles Garrett's foot has been a bugaboo. He'll be fine.
He's fine.
Yeah. Rappaport tweeted he's fine.
Okay. Thanks, Chad, for commenting.
I'll limit him just a little bit, though, probably just to make sure he doesn't hurt himself a little extra. You have to be careful with a player like that, just in case.
Juan Thornhill is injured again, and so Mohorst and Tony.
And he had a great game.
I know. I don't understand what's going on with some of these guys.
One play, he bit the wrong way. That was it. The touchdown.
Yeah. Juan Thornhill, Tony Field's name is always on the injured list every year. It seems like. I don't know
we really needed him for Houston because he scores touchdowns against Houston.
I'm just concerned. It's after week 1. We've got 5 guys on the injured reserve list. It just people have. I mean, I know it's sometimes it should happen.
I may add really quickly, the Cowboys I think have 3 right now.
Okay.
I know Jake Ferguson got hurt. I know another guy got hurt. I'm pretty sure they have. I don't know if it's injured list, but I'm pretty sure they had 3 people get hurt in that game.
Sam,
or at least are hurt now.
Sam, are the Dallas fans pretty happy this week? They're floating on cloud 9.
Oh, well, not my radio, probably ESPN. But not my radio. They are excited. They were happy that they won, but they also are still a little concerned about Dak and his poor performance and how he didn't play amazing.
Very few quarterbacks had good days.
Yeah.
But and of course they're like, we just pay him all the money, but no, they're more calm and they're already thinking about the next.
CeeDee Lamb, I'm telling you, he is a good wide receiver.
I got him in fantasy.
I didn't realize how big he is. A lot of these
running back
wide receivers, you see a lot of times aren't very big when you see them in person, and they're playing on the field. But CeeDee Lamb, that play he made at the beginning of the game over the top of Denzel Ward was.
That was a weird play. It looked like he could have blocked or at least swatted that ball down. He didn't stick up his arm at all.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I'm not saying it was his fault, and I'm not saying that there was something he could have done, but his hand was kind of way down. I know his body was twisted and he was trying to look up, but I feel like he could have just stuck his hand in the air. Yeah, maybe got a little tipped, but I don't know.
Well, that's done. So let's talk a little bit about. So David Njoku is also injured. So I guess I want to know what are the keys, or what are some of the key players that really need to step up in this game this week? Drill, you want to start us off? What are some guys that you're looking forward to seeing and performing well?
Well, I think y'all probably know the answer to this. They need the tackles back for sure. I just watched that game, the Jaguars and the Dolphins, and Jaguars have a good front. They're going to have a similar problem that they had with Dallas. But if the situational play calling, as far as the routes that the receivers are running, like, again, I don't know if y'all saw the breakdown, but they called a play for Judy. He ran a post, and they almost got him killed. It was the post that Watson hit him, but he caught it, and the ball got knocked out. They're not calling routes to occupy the safety, whether you're going to try to take the safety and run them off or any of that. So if the play calling isn't better, Chad, they're going to be in trouble, because even when you said Watson had all of this time, on the video I pause the video and I say, who's open?
Yeah, I saw it a couple of
for 3 seconds.
Right.
Nobody's open. So that has to be better.
Okay. Steve, players or the situation for the Browns to win on Sunday?
I think that because Jacksonville secondary isn't the best, and their best corner was put on IR today. Darby, their other corner against Miami, allowed a perfect passer rating by Tua. Tua lit them up. Yeah, he allowed a perfect passer rating of 158.3. He was targeted 5 times.
Another interception.
Oof.
He was targeted 6 times and allowed 5 catches.
Okay.
But the thing about Jacksonville and their secondary, they will defend the middle of the field. They will not allow you to get anything over the middle. They sometimes play their safeties back in the Georgia state line to prevent anybody from getting behind them. But they do also play a lot of man, and if they get into a man coverage, the Browns can really take advantage of it.
Deshaun Watson is 6-0, right?
6-0, but those are all with Houston.
Right.
The offensive line, the weird thing about their defensive line is they will get after the quarterback, but they don't pressure a lot. They run a bunch of stunts. So the offensive line is really going to have to step it up. They really are. And
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, the line.
Yeah, that's all of them, all 5 of them, because they can come at you. I mean, this one kid that they have, Hines Allen, I didn't even know he had 17 and a half sacks last year.
Yes.
The Jaguars.
Yeah.
That was the quietest 17 and a half sacks I've ever seen.
Right.
So, and the guy on the other end, he had 10, and then of course they got Armstead. He had 5 last year with the 49ers. So the offensive line is definitely going to have to play better. And if they can take advantage of the Jaguars secondary, I think it'll be a good day. I'm not really scared of Trevor Lawrence. He has lost his last 5 starts. They are currently on. They've lost 6 out of their last 7 games. The Jaguars have, dating back to last year. And I was watching some of that Miami game. He was overall not bad, but in the second half, he just kind of disappeared. He was 3 of 7 for 37 yards.
What I was going to mention, I was just going to chime in on that part, because I was talking to the Fans First Sports guy from Jacksonville. I'm going to talk to him later this week on Saturday, Behind Enemy Lines show. We're going to do Kyle Nash, who's part of the Jaguars group. He wrote an article for Fans First. You might check that out, everybody, if you. But he wrote about Trevor Lawrence, and he wrote a little bit about what you just mentioned, Steve, how he kind of disappeared in the second half, but they had the lead. I guess they were going in to try to score, and the ball got stripped or something. And then, but a lot of fans have been complaining about, why didn't they put the ball in the hands of Lawrence more in the second half? Because they're paying him all that money.
Did he freeze?
Am I frozen?
No.
Am I good?
Everybody's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
you're good. You're good.
I'm going to be talking to Kyle Nash later on this weekend, so looking for that. But he talked about Trevor Lawrence and how he didn't touch the ball. Like you said, he was 3 for 7 in the second half.
3 for 7, 37 yards in the second half against Miami. And their secondary, Tua had something like 338 yards, and they allowed a 101 passer rating for the game. So, but Deshaun's got to be upright to make those passes.
Lou, what do you think? What do you think on the whole?
Well, I was going to say
players?
offensive line, but I'm going to say Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun. Let's just elephant in the room. He's got to get that stuff out of his head. He's got to go out there and he's got to produce. You're getting paid a lot of money.
Yep.
It's time to start living up to that contract. No excuses.
Yep. Sam.
All right. I think Jacksonville is fine. They're a 10-win team. That division's it's going to be the Colts and the Texans, I believe.
Okay.
I think that's going to be a really, really good. I think that's going to be one of the best, I guess you could say, rivalries for the next 10 years will be Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud, assuming both can stay healthy and both can continue playing at a high level. I think that's going to be a really, really good rivalry between the two because they were great in that game. But I mean, on like, I don't know, the Jaguars aren't amazing. Trevor Lawrence is, I don't know really what's his deal. I think he could be a top 10 quarterback pretty easily if he plays correctly. I think he could be a bottom 10 quarterback if he doesn't play right. They're just a weird team right now.
How far did they get? Didn't they get like to the AFC Championship game or something a while ago when he first came into the league? I thought no, he's not been that far.
Blake Bortles.
Oh, okay. So he really hasn't been that far, right? Doesn't he have like a sub 500 record too?
First year was with that awful coach.
Well, you got to take out, like Samuel just said, you got to take out the first year against Urban Meyer. Since then, they were
playing Urban Meyer more than they were playing the opponents.
Yeah, the first year with Urban Meyer was really bad.
So do we tell me if you think the Browns are going to win or lose on Sunday, Jarrell? Win or loss?
If they don't have the tackles back, I think they're going to lose.
Yeah, Steve, you going to give a prediction?
I don't usually do predictions, but I'll tell you this: Stefanski, after a loss as a head coach, is 22-8.
Okay, it's a pretty good record. Lou, what do you think? Loss, win?
I'll be bold. I'll say they're gonna win by 3.
Okay, Sam.
Yeah, I'm gonna say wow. I'm gonna say probably. Oh, man, I don't really know because last week, let's pretend the Cowboy game never happened. I thought the Cowboys were gonna win, the Browns. I thought the Browns were gonna win. I don't know. I think I'm going to say Browns again. I still think the Browns can win. I think last week was, I guess you would call it a fluke. I think it was just a bad game all around. And I think the Cowboys were the best defense. Jaguars are certainly not the best defense in the league. I think we say Browns win, but I would not be shocked if we lose again.
I think I feel the same way as you and others. I'll go with the win. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair with mistakes. People putting up big numbers going against, and I'm going to say Browns 35, Jacksonville 31. I'm going out of bounds.
You going 4?
Can I ask one question? Why? Can anybody tell me why Foreman didn't get 1 carry?
That I don't know. Thank you. I don't know. I thought the same thing. Great question. Yeah, that's a great question.
They could have used him in the first half.
Yes.
They could have used a lot in the first half.
They could have set up some of those passes.
Is he on the team? He's not on the practice squad, or is he on the practice squad?
He actually came out and had some plays. He got some. Yeah, he was out there. I don't know what was going on.
I don't either.
No idea. I have no idea why.
All right.
I wish if I had the answer, I'd give it to you, but I don't.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It's been an hour.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. We're going to have so much more to talk about. I just want to thank everybody too. You know, you guys are really listening, tuning in. Our downloads are back up again this month. We really appreciate all the support. You know, we're going to try to bring you some pregame and then especially after the game, some post game material. I know you guys tune in for those post games. That's when our downloads really shoot up. So thank you again. Spread the love. Tell everybody about the Cleveland Browns. Every day, guys, I don't know about you guys, but every day I talk to somebody new, and I ran into a guy that lived in the neighborhood a year ago. I saw him somewhere yesterday, and he says, are you doing the writing? Are you doing the podcasting? I said, oh yeah, I'm still doing it. So that I gave him the name of the podcast, and you know, hopefully he'll tune in. Big Browns fan. So
hey,
awesome.
Buffalo just kicked the field goal, 10-7.
Nice.
10-7 Buffalo.
Well, I had Miami.
I have no skin in this game. I'm just watching as a fan. So.
Lou, thank you so much for being here. Sam,
thanks,
all the way from Dallas. Thank you, Jarrell and Steve, all the way from Nashville. No, they don't live together, but they're down there in Nashville.
They're neighbors. They're neighbors.
They're neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah, we're neighbors with John Bon Jovi. So
yes.
Dog Food Radio. Jarrell, Dog Pound South. Steve, Sam with Browns Breakdowns, Lou with Stirring the Pot with the Burning River Browns Talk. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Take care and go Browns.
Hey, don't forget the Stewcast. Yes, I do the pro wrestling. Do the pro wrestling for Fans First. Yeah, Combat Zone.
Oh.
Check them out.
Go Browns.
See ya.
We'll be 1-1.